back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Don't you listen to what the man said. He said.
Hi, I'm George Gordon on Boomer Life. Today we're talking about the latest innovations in hearing. And we're talking to one of the guys who has been instrumental in telling the story about how much we're losing in life by not getting to the hearing problem earlier in life. Dr. Ted Venema, who is an audiologist with NexGen Hearing, a company that is really growing because they understand the problem. They understand how to get to the problem, and they understand how to fix it, and they can help people overcome their fear about it. Let's talk a bit more about, you were talking about a recent study, I believe it was done in France. It was extensive. We're talking 3,000 people,
it was quite something.
25 years. So this is not just a 6-week couple of people. This has got some depth, and it shows that there is a connection with when you can't spark the brain because you can't hear.
Yeah. It was called Self-Reported Hearing Loss, Hearing Aids, and Cognitive Decline in Elderly Adults, a 25-year study. So in contrast to the previous studies that I've mentioned, this one here looked at a group of 3,670 subjects in France over the period from 1989 until last year, 2015. So you're looking at 25 years roughly. And some of the subjects reported no hearing loss when they entered this study, and some reported moderate problems in hearing, and some reported major problems in hearing. Okay, and they followed these people on a test called the Mini Mental State Examination over a 25-year time span, and they found, again, as the other studies have found, hearing loss significantly is associated with cognitive decline. They found, however, a significant difference between those who had hearing loss who were wearing hearing aids compared to those who had hearing loss who were not wearing hearing aids. And the people who were not wearing hearing aids were the ones that stood out. So you had three groups: the control group who had normal hearing, another group with hearing loss, and another group with hearing loss who wore hearing aids. And these three groups were studied, and the group that had the most significant cognitive decline was the group who had hearing loss that did nothing about it. The normal hearing group and the people who had hearing loss who wore hearing aids, there was no statistical difference in cognitive decline with aging. So, and another thing that they looked at in this study was, and I thought this was quite fascinating, they looked at depression and social isolation. And when they controlled for these factors, and they do this in complex statistical analyses that I wouldn't want to bore anyone with, I can hardly understand it myself, but at any rate, when they controlled for depression and anxiety and isolation, then there was no difference in cognitive decline among the three groups, period. Thus underlining, it's not that hearing loss causes dementia, nor is it even that hearing loss is associated necessarily with cognitive decline. It's that hearing loss causes aggravation, anxiety, and isolation, which thus leads to cognitive decline, because you need to be in the game of life in order to keep those firings going on in that head, that brain between the two ears.
This seems like amazing common sense, and here is a study that was done in France, you say, that was started 25 years ago, right? So they must have used some common sense, but we have to have the numbers to back us up, and we can't just do this in a mild way.
Right.
This whole research that's being done, like so much research, so many studies now, it must have been becoming evident that, boy, if people can't hear, they're being left out, and that's affecting quality. There must be some money at the end of this trail that we're losing the quality of our workers and our students because.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that physicians become educated in hearing loss. I mean, obviously they study the heart, the kidneys, and the ears and cancer. I mean, but they're dealing with everything from kidneys to cancer. Let's face it, the general family practitioner is a busy person. But very often, hearing loss in the elderly, which is called presbycusis. So it looks just like Presbyterian.
Okay.
Presbyterian would be Church of the Elders as opposed to the deacons. All right. Presbyopia, your arms aren't long enough to read a page. And presbycusis, hearing loss in the elderly.
Right.
And it's 30% of people over 65, 50% of people 75 and over, and 80% of people 85 and older have significant hearing loss, which keeps them out of the game. And it's so treatable. It's so, the answers are there. It's just that people aren't making the link. And it's just walk through the door. Just come on through the door. There's a lot of help out there.
NexGenHearing.com. This is the website you should be going to get a lot of the information that we've been talking about here today. But Dr. Ted, it strikes me that you need partners, doctors, not just gerontologists, general physicians, teachers, people who can spot the problem, saying you need to get help and steer them in the direction of people like NexGen.
It's a public awareness campaign, really. The field of hearing and hearing loss is just crying out for public education. And I love explaining things to the public. I think it's just great. But you know, when you come in for a hearing test, here's what you can expect. You'll be sat down with an audiologist or a hearing instrument practitioner. They will take a case history on you. They will ask you questions about how long you may have noticed the hearing loss, whether one ear is better than the other one. Do you have ringing in your ears? They want to rule out medical pathologies, okay? Because if you need to see a doctor, you need to see a doctor. But the case history is also done to assess your hearing needs. Then we do the hearing test. And then that involves being sat in a quiet room under headphones. And tones are presented to the right ear separately to the left ear, and we measure the decibel level. How loud does the tone need to be for you to just barely hear it? And we do that across the pitch range, from low C on a piano to middle C to high C to several octaves higher. So that way we've got a picture of your hearing levels in the right ear and in the left ear. And from there we can do a hearing aid prescription, just like glasses are done by optometrists. I couldn't wear your glasses, you couldn't wear mine. And it's the same with hearing aids. They are prescribed. They don't just make all sounds louder. They are literally tuned, digitally sculpted, so that their frequency, the pitches they put out, match the needs of your particular hearing loss.
Okay. I'm convinced that the end process of going to NexGen is going to help me with my hearing problem. But even at my age, I'm a little leery about walking into any kind of a medical office because it's a little intimidating. You don't know what's coming next. Have you figured that part out for people who are a little scared?
Oh yeah. I mean, it takes some admission that you've got some hearing loss, and that's a step to overcome. But I guess what I would want to say is look at it just like the eyes. You know, people have no trouble wearing glasses. People have no difficulty walking into an optician shop to talk about frames, and it should be the same with hearing. It's one of your two main senses, sight and hearing. And hearing is invisible. Hearing loss is invisible. And it has an awful stigma to it of senility, old age, becoming stupid, all of these things, which is just so terribly unfortunate. Because once you're wearing hearing aids and you've accommodated to them, you're not going to believe the difference in the ease of communication. And it's that ease of communication that's the balm, that's the salve for the injury. It's that ease of communication. It's just great.
Well, and the offer that you make, the free evaluation and the time that you have to test this to make sure is pretty darn good.
Well, you've got nothing to lose, let's put it that way. For 21 days, you can walk out of any NexGen mainland office with a pair of hearing aids on your ears without having plunked down a nickel. Okay, you see us on a weekly basis within that 21 days. We tune things and ask how you're doing and answer questions you may have. And then once 21 days is done, you can pay for the hearing aids and you can wear them an additional 69 days. 21 and 69 is 90. And you can return the hearing aids for a full refund at the end of the 90 days. I mean, so 21 days without plunking down a nickel, and then an additional 69 days you have paid for them, but you can always rest assured that it's not money thrown away either. You can return them. Most people don't. I mean, but that we walk the walk with you, and we want you to become used to it. We like to serve you. It's fun. We rather quite enjoy it. And we like people. We're people. And we answer questions with you as you go along in that entire 90 days. You can always feel welcome to walk in the door.
NexGen.com if you'd like to get more information about what the folks at NexGen Hearing are doing. We've been talking to Dr. Ted Venema, who is a registered audiologist who has been working with people, letting them hear better, be more in contact. This is all part of Boomer Life on CIL 650.